Right. Man, I tell you what, you know, I mean, I think if I was... Shit.
I said I subscribed.
Give us a quick second as we work on some technical things. Just give us a quick moment here. Let's see. All right. The show is starting soon. Give us a quick moment. All right. Were you able to find the link there? To the,
No, actually, brother.
I am. I'm actually posting the link right now and gonna tag some people in it. We trying to get everybody here, y'all. Trying to get everybody here. I know. Trying to get everybody here. Y'all just give us a second. Running on some new digs here. So just trying to get everybody here. All right.
I have a restriction thing on my Facebook.
Oh man. Did they get you too?
Yeah, something got me. I'm not knowing why. It's like they're building up like they have a fucking list here of something. February 26th, February 23rd, February 7th, February 17th. Way back. I don't know if it's this old shit or what, but oh wow. Let me
see that? The powers that be, man, they trying to stop the grind. They are trying to stop the grind.
Okay, let's see what I got here. So, okay, I posted it.
I posted it.
Okay.
All right. So, you know, y'all, we appreciate you being patient with us. You know, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, just trying to maneuver between different platforms and things of that nature. But we're gonna have a good conversation today, and we're going to talk about a few different things. This is a good conversation right here. You know, this whole Facebook fiasco, man. It's like all you see and hear left and right is you know, people who are truth seekers and truth tellers are getting shut down in a sense, getting muffled in a sense, man. It's not even funny. It's not even funny.
No, I'm tagging a lot of people in this conversation here. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know what this restriction for on my end.
You know, I mean, think about it. We're over here trying to keep it kosher so we can, keep the ability to speak to the masses and talk to people and teach and showcase and show people opportunity. And it's like we continue to get shut down from time to time.
Well,
It is crazy.
we have been out on the edge, and of course, along with this, controlling the media, or controlling what is being put out there through, for covert and all this information. Wait a minute, let me see something here.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's kind of what it's all about. It is all about trying to control information, trying to control the people, trying to control the masses. But either way, folks, we're gonna get in here, we're gonna do what we do, and hopefully you're listening in on YouTube, and in listening in on YouTube, you can join in on the conversation. Here, let me pull this down here, and
Yeah, man says something about your post has been restricted, account restricted. Your post will be moved lower in a news feed for at least 90 days. So what they're saying, they're going to lower my news feed.
that's what they did. That's what they did with me.
Yeah, for 90 goddamn days. I mean, they don't even explain what I did wrong, actually. But I kind of
mine was the same exact thing. It didn't explain what was wrong, and it gave me 29 days, and yours gave you 90 days, and it said the same thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna lower me. It's gonna lower my visibility and all of that stuff, man. It's a trip. It's a trip what they doing.
And most of this is all dealing with covert, because it did one of the last things I did, or I posted it, took it down, but it mentioned that, as I stated, because I know it was a covert, when I mentioned about, as I stand on the right side of the fence, I'm proud to see other communities have the courage to stand up. So this is a post that I put out February 26th that got taken down, and I remember the statement that I put in it. So this is one of the things that they're saying, because this is a fact check, saying that I'm stating what I'm stating is false. And apparently it was dealing with what was going on in Canada when I made this statement about I'm glad to see other people standing on the right side of the fence, and to stand up in defiance. So it's that. And
you can't speak out against the general narrative, bro.
No, you can't.
That's just what it is. You can't speak out against the general narrative, and it's just kind of crazy.
And one of these posts that was taken down was the Tipping Point show. So that was the 23rd. The Tipping Point show was taken down off my post, which was last week's show, I believe, was it not? Or the week before. So anyway, again, another post on February 7th was taken down. Fact check. That was another COVID thing. So they got a nigga banned. So
yeah. Well, we live. We're gonna just try to keep it going and do what we do. Y'all can join us right now on YouTube. Again, just look up the Tipping Point Morning Show on YouTube. We appreciate you. Unfortunately,
it says that I am repeatedly sharing false information.
Oh yeah. They're gonna keep messing with that, because mine was pretty much the same thing, and again, repeatedly. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, repeatedly? Like, what are y'all talking about? Repeatedly. And then if it was so repeated, then, and the thing about it is, for mine, it showed the same exact thing, but it said repeatedly. But it was only one post comment that they show that was an issue, but they show it like 3 times. And I'm like, but it was just one comment. I didn't repeatedly do anything. But again, they're talking about, you go in there and you can see the past stuff that you've done from the past and things of that nature. So, again, just all of it just becoming an issue, becoming a problem. So, we soon to be, moving on different platforms and things of that nature. But here, while we got some guests in the back already. So, folks, we got a great show for you this morning. We have a plethora of guests coming on, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to go ahead and start us off here as we typically do.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Young. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
All right. So, I want y'all to check out something here for me. This is a dope new commercial. Did you even get a chance to watch it yet, bro?
I haven't.
Okay, well, here, the debut of the Abibi Trading Tipping Point Show commercial. Let's check it out.
Habibi Trading Company, home of soap sticks and Saya Baba products. Over 400 locations at a store near you. Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky. Or get yours online at sayababa.com. Again, that's sayababa.com. Habibi Tumi Trading Company, owned by yours truly, John Ya Esoteric Concept.
Oh, it's dope.
Yeah, that came out all right, man. We're gonna play around with it and do some more stuff, but that came out all right.
Yeah, I like it.
It almost looked like the picture at the end was taken right now. There it is. That's the same look right there. But look, folks, we got a great show. We are talking about something special and local to Louisville, Kentucky. And the title of today's show is called The Mystery of Iniquity, Quintez Brown and Local Elections. Again, The Mystery of Iniquity, Quintez Brown and Local Elections. So we have one of our guests already on. I'm going to go ahead and bring her to the forefront. Is that cool with you, Brother John Yah?
Yeah, bring her.
All right, we're going to go ahead and bring her on. And folks, introducing the general of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party. And we have Miss AHAMARA Mathis here on the show with us today. Welcome to the Tipping Point Morning Show.
Grand Rising, thank you. Glad to be here this morning.
Fantastic. I usually start off a lot of times just asking everybody, how was their week and stuff like that. Me and John Yah just kind of chop it up real quick. We'll do that just the same. And I'm gonna ask you, Madame, how was your week and how are things going this morning?
Well, everything's going good this morning. I had a good week, very productive week. Got a lot of business handled, a lot of paperwork situated. Got my car put in the shop, got it together. Getting ready to take my kids to dance class in here in a few. So I can't complain. It was a good week.
Gotcha. So how long do we have you before you have to step out?
No, you can go ahead. We can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It can be a little late.
I got you. Brother John, how's your week been, family?
It's been awesome. AHAMARA, they beat us up on Facebook. So we can't air on Facebook.
You off of Facebook too?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, we can't seem to stream nothing live. They got a restriction on my account, on Joe's account. And it's basically everything that I'm reading is about COVID stuff that I've been posting. So, it's another proof of how, and it's one thing I tell you that when you are working against the true powers, you will see them react. Yeah. If they don't react, that means you're really not working against the true power, because you can tell how they maneuver with running their system. And again, this is their system. There ain't nobody we can complain about it. There is no constitutional rights being violated here. And this is their platform. And we're using that platform, and we're using it to talk about things that they don't want us to talk about. And so that makes it what we're talking about important, you know, because I don't mind rubbing certain people the wrong way. But anyway, that's what we're up against. This is why we're now. But what I did, I am able to share this YouTube feed on my Facebook page. And what I did, I just tagged in a lot of people into that. And so if you can do the same, share it from your YouTube page onto your Facebook page, and then tag a bunch of people in it.
Okay.
Absolutely. So we are live. You know, it's a trip, you know, because it makes you, I guess, if I were thinking different, if a mindset was different, then I would sit back and cave in and give up and say, hey, I'm not, I don't like this. I'm not doing this anymore, or give in to what's going on. But if you're thinking correctly, then you know that you're getting close to something. You know, when you realize you're rubbing people the wrong way, when local urban officials come out of their mouth saying something the wrong way, you know, even in a post comment on their own post, you know, you pull them out of character, right? Out of that acting character, then you know you're getting close to the truth. You're rubbing some people the wrong way. That's kind of how that happens. We experienced that this week with some Urban League officials there that came out of character to say some things.
Get her name
Go ahead, throw it out there. She came out of character to say some things that a few other people jumped on and said, hey, that's not cool at all to say that. So we got another brother that is coming on to the stream here. I'm going to introduce you guys. This is Brother Marcus Ray. He is the president of the Kentucky NAACP.
Okay.
So this brother here is joining the conversation. Brother Marcus, how you doing today?
Pretty good. I'm having a hard time hearing, but I'm doing pretty well. How y'all doing?
All right.
Good.
Can you hear us good now?
I'm having a hard time hearing you all. I'm not sure I've got my settings on here.
Okay.
Let me try to figure that out so you can hear me.
Okay. We hear you real good.
Yeah, we hear you great. So let's see if maybe you got that volume control on your phone. You might be able to hit that on the side of the phone and get some more volume out of that. That's the one thing about these phones, man. When you first get them, and you know, they sound loud, they sound great, and all of that, man. But goodness, as time goes on, man, you know, I'd be thinking I need a toothbrush to clean out my phone or something, because you know the volume ain't that great. But Marcus will be back as well. We're gonna have a couple other people probably join us throughout the show as well. But you know, let's just kind of jump right in. This whole Quintez Brown situation and local elections. That's what I want to talk about today, is Quintez Brown and local elections. So when you really look at this, folks, you know, man, who wants to speak to, you know, what actually happened? Let's start there and talk about what actually happened first and foremost. AHAMARA, you want to take that?
Sure. But I don't know what I can actually say, because in my honest opinion, I don't think anything happened.
well, let's talk about what
happened
is alleged and what the media is alleging right now.
Wait a minute. Okay. Yes. Well, mayoral candidate Craig Greenberg, his office was, you know, shot up or whatever, and lo and behold, you know, at the shooting, the shooter that they alleged, you know, shot up his office was Quintez Brown. We all know Quintez as a rising activist, young activist, 21 years old. His claim to, I don't want to say claim to fame, but his the good work that he had did was he was the one who got the principal fired at DuPont Manual High School for his racial slurs. He was the president of the student union at that time, and that's what he's first noted for. Along with speaking up for community, engaging with young folks. What else has he done? And then the whole ironic thing about everything is that he was running for District 5 for 4 elections for District 5, which is the Russell district. So one February morning, February 14th morning, Valentine's Day morning, Greenberg's office gets attacked by a shooter, and the alleged shooter so happens to be Quintez Brown.
And when you say that, you say that his office, Greenberg's office, got shot up. That's good terminology, because I think it was like 10 rounds that were let off.
And you know what's odd? Because the first report was 9 to 10. Now, if you go back, because they can edit it, so now they're saying 3. So yeah, you have to keep going back and reading it, and then you look at the bottom, and it'll tell you when the last time they updated like the article. So yeah, it went from 10 to 3. I noticed that.
So
we don't even know how, and I don't know how you can mess up 10 shots from 3 shots.
Well, I mean, when you say 10 shots, that's a lot of shots, and then people start thinking, oh man, well, maybe that's too many, because I mean, 10 shots, somebody should have got hurt with 10 shots. That's kind of difficult when you think about it. Now, Brother Marcus, we asked everybody how their week was and how things were going. Want to give you the same respect there, brother. How was your week, and how are you doing today?
Oh, my week was all right. It's always full of stuff, with the legislative battles going on in Frankfurt. I spent a lot of time doing that. And of course, I'm in the funeral business, so I've done quite a bit of that this past week as well. So it's been busy, but mainly the legislative work that's going on in Frankfurt. House Bill or Senate Bill 138 referenced the CRT, or the education bill about banning the teaching of Black history. Yeah, that's a big one. And then there's some of these taxes that they're looking to impose and give billionaires some more tax breaks. So we work on those things all the time, and that just keeps me pretty busy.
When you say we, you're talking about the NAACP and your position as president?
That's correct. We continually lobby legislators about bills and things that interest us. We've been working pretty hard with Smart on Crimes Committee to see if we can make some sense about how they punish or how they sentence things and stuff like that. And we're also working on bail reform. So we spend a lot of time working with legislators, trying to convince them why those things are important and why they can impact our community more so than others. When you look at the disproportionate numbers of people in our community that are in the system versus the rest. And so we spend quite a bit of time doing that year round. It's just that it all heats up during the legislative session, because that's when most of them are going to be most attentive, or we have most of them in the same place.
You brought up something that's very interesting, Marcus, about the system. We had Carl Price on here a few weeks ago. Of course, he's running for a district county attorney. And we talked about the system, meaning that in so many ways you can have Black judges and you can have Black prosecutors. But if the Black judges and Black prosecutors are not going to change the ruling system, then they're just running the same system. You got a lot of Black judges in Atlanta, overwhelmingly a lot of Black judges and prosecutors, but they're still overwhelmingly locking up Black people. I mean, the system hasn't changed when it comes to these incarceration rates. So how does that affect here in what you're working with? How does that affect the legal system? And is there something wrong with the law itself, or is it something wrong with the police patrolling?
Well, so what we're working on, one, is that sometimes the crime is not proportional. The punishment is not proportional to the crime. And so to your first question, there has to be a paradigm shift, even with Black judges and Black prosecutors. If they still have the same mentality when they approach it, then of course the results are going to be the same, or the outcomes. And so that's a different model. You know, I look at Judge Stevenson there in Jefferson County, who has said we're going to break that mold and we're going to do some things and take some other things into consideration as we move through the process. Those types of groundbreaking things are some of the things that have to happen in the judicial system in order to create a situation where the outcomes are varied based on some individual factors. You know, as far as having a black prosecutor, they also have to commit to saying that's not worth the time that you're being put out there. You know, fundamentally, we have to change the laws, which is what Smart on Crime is talking about doing. We're saying that these punishments don't fit those crimes, and we haven't made adjustments to the system, and we'll allow a person to go in and be punished or sentenced based on that judge's feeling about that person. And there's no, even though there's supposed to be objectivity, it's all subjective. You know, when a person can go in for the exact same crime and one person get 10 years, another person get 10 days, that's purely subjective. And the judge, when imposing sentencing, may not say they're being subjective, but when you get those outcomes, that's the only thing it can be.
Correct. So isn't that when you're talking about sentencing, you're right. But however, that leaves it to the judge's discretion. In other words, a person can come with a crime and he may have a couple of past history, and the other one who comes with the same crime don't have no history, and the judge makes his discretion on whether to give this person either 1 to 5 and give him 1, and give the other person 5 years instead of giving him 1 year. How do you change that point to remove their discretion? Because I do find that that's where the racism could be. That's where the bias can be, is in the discretion. If it's a 5-year sentence, it should be 5 years across the board, opposed to, the judge has the power to lower the sentence because he like this white boy, or that defendant is a friend of his father, or So how do we get into that area to make the changes?
Well, that's a difficult thing because there are going to always be some things that may mitigate a sentence, but you have to know what those things are up front. Right. If I know what those things are, and then I say, when these things apply, I'm on this end of the scale. When these things apply, I'm on that end of the scale. That's not how it works right now. It's solely up to that judge what end of the scale he's going to, or she is going to be on.
Correct.
And so we can figure out a way that makes those things public, where people know that if I go in there and I have these things, then I'm gonna be on that end of the scale versus this end. Right now, it's purely arbitrary on what that judge decides, and that's why I think you see such a large disparity. And of course, the sentencing report and some of those pre-sentencing reports that they do gives a little bit more into the background of what that person does. So when you talk about a person who has priors and has done several things, then some of that's taken into consideration. But in cases where they are truly identical, except for a person's ethnic background, and the sentences are far on each end, those things are very disturbing when you look at the trends. And just for instance, we here looked at all the juvenile cases in Hardin County to see, I mean, literally every single case over a 5-year period. And we found the disparity in the sentencing or the outcomes of those cases for the minority people that were in the judicial system. It was much harsher than the whites that were in the system. And so we did set out to put some things in place here in Hardin County to help bring those things more into line with what those outcomes are. And so I think you have to do something similar to that, even if it was a representative sample, to say, here's how these things are being this disparity is taking place. Now, what can we do to make sure that the outcomes are more equal?
Gotcha. And real quick, I'm going to bring in yet another guest. Like I said, folks, we're going to have different guests probably popping in throughout the show. I want to bring in Better Days with Peter Hayes. That's Better Days with Peter Hayes. Welcome to the Tipping Point Morning Show. Sir, how you doing?
Hey, Joe and brothers and sisters, good morning. I am doing fantastic.
All right, good stuff. Now, Peter Hayes is a local everything man. Peter, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of let you introduce yourself and give a quick synopsis of what you do here in the city. Go right ahead.
Sure. As mentioned, my better days with Peter Hayes. I wear many different hats, globally, nationally, statewide, locally. Um, the six major things that I do is spirituality. Been in ministry for 40 years. The other thing is government and politics for 40 years, business for 40 years, clinic and nonprofit work for 40 years, family life for 40 years, and education school work for 40 years.
Awesome, awesome. That is amazing. Now, we're having this conversation, and we kind of jumped in there. Brother Marcus brought up some things with what he does with the NAACP, and always fighting for equality and justice, just the same. And with the conversation of the day, we're talking about Quintez Brown and local elections. Now, AHAMARA, you brought up something earlier when I asked if you could talk about what happened. One of the things you brought up, you said that it's hard to talk about what happened because it's hard to believe everything that happened because there's some things that are missing, things that are glazed over. Peter Hayes, when you look at this, AHAMARA pointed out that even with this story with the Quintez Brown, initially they talked about that he let off about 10 rounds. And now, as you go back and look at the updated version of the story, they're saying 3 rounds. Is there any thought process or insight that you have? You've been in politics for years, locally and nationally. Is there any thoughts that you have to, why a story would just kind of flip flop and change like that, yet no one is coming forth with any real evidence of what happened?
Yeah, typically, and I've worked with media very, here and all over the world, in Africa and Israel. Typically, the first report of any activity is not correct. It's anywhere from, well, anywhere. It's not 100% correct. And so then what happens is the first reports get out there, and then most of the media don't really backtrack, say, oops, it wasn't 10 shots, it was 3 shots. And so that happens because they're moving on to new things. So that's usually what happens. So usually the first report in any incident, depends on who they talk to, is not accurate completely.
Gotcha. So we could be dealing with a situation where it was just, some inaccurate information that was given. And, right now they're trying to go back and fix that inaccurate information. So maybe that's what we're dealing with. Nonetheless, it just seems slightly irresponsible for the media to come out with, that's a big disparity. 10 shots versus 3 shots is a big disparity.
That's not so much as the media issue. It's people talking to the media. They're only reporting what somebody told them. So if a bystander says, hey, I heard 10 shots, they're going to say 10 shots. And then the officer says, well, we only have 3 bullets in the wall, so we only see 3 shots. And then they say, well, it's only 3 shots. So they're just following what they're told, actually, and they'll bounce around, and somebody tell them something else, they'll say it. So right now, the investigation is probably still going on at this point. The issue is whether or not, we're talking about this boy having mental illness or not. And now that he's back in the news, if you talk about this young man, you got to talk about him from the beginning, as we was talking about what AHAMARA was talking about, what he was involved in. But if you look at some of the stuff when we're talking about mental illness, now what does that come from? That started when he came up missing. I believe last year, there was a missing report of the young man. And then the young man, and everybody looking for him, the police is looking for him. Then he pops up. And before he pops up, somehow the family members or somebody mentioned about mental illness. Then the situation goes away. And correct me if I'm right or not, AHAMARA. Then the situation goes away. Then he pops back up again, and somehow he's within blocks, I believe, from the shooting. And apparently that's where he was caught, allegedly, I guess. And so now we're talking mental illness again, you know, so which is the case. And if we're talking mental illness right now, before the investigation even fully takes place, find out whether it was him or not, we're already saying he's guilty because we're already putting forth in front of the case that he's mentally ill. So if he is guilty, he's mentally ill. So no one talks about mental illness in a criminal case this soon, unless you're talking guilt. If he's innocent, we wouldn't be talking whether he's mental illness or not. We wouldn't be speaking mental illness if he is innocent. We will be talking about his innocence, not his mental state.
Now, and let's talk perspective for a second, because John, and I was going to bring this up, and you kind of brought this up already. You yourself advise and consult lawyers, defense lawyers, correct?
In some cases, when it comes to not so much as consulting the lawyers, but helping the client, the defendant, through the case, whether I am helping them, preparing them for trial, or whether I am doing things that is maybe unethical for the lawyer to say and do for them or the client. Got you. So in a sense, you're kind of like a fix-it man when it comes to that particular situation. If you were, you know, working for the defense attorney, you know, you've already stated that they're bringing out the whole mental health thing way too soon, mental illness thing way too soon, which to me is a red flag. That Correct. Says something, because what it says is that they're trying to control the narrative. Yep. And, you know, this is, like you said, it's too soon for that. So if you were advising on that side, John, is there anything specific that you would be trying to focus on in helping that client? I really can't say, because really, you know, I'm only hearing bits and pieces of what people are talking about, and not knowing none of it is absolute. Everything you hear is you're hearing less than 10% of the truth, by the way, until you hear it from the person's mouth itself, right? So we're only hearing bits and pieces. So I don't know what to advise other than what's going on right now is that he's keeping his mouth shut, which is what his attorney should tell him to do, not come forth, not talk to anybody. So, you know, if we ever ask, why is he ain't coming forth talking about it? Because his lawyer is going to tell him keep his mouth shut. Right. So that's the first thing. I don't know the details of the case. In other words, the bullets, whether the bullets came from the gun. Did he have a gun? Did they catch him with the gun? Is the gun matching the bullets? All of this is still under investigation. What was he wearing? Did he have gunpowder burns on his hand? Is any proof that he even shot a gun? All this is still under investigation. It's not really out yet. If I was working with his lawyer on the case, all this information would be in front of our face through discovery, whether or not what they have and what they don't have. So I wouldn't know what to advise him based on this second hearing of people just running their mouth and just talking from the outside. No one's from the inside speaking. I'm finding it interesting that people on the outside is even speaking towards mental illness when they don't even know the details of the case. That tells me that individual automatically believes in their own mind that this person is guilty. Let's find a way out.
Man, absolutely. So, you know, I want to come to Marcus, and then I'm going to come to you, General AHAMARA. Marcus, there's a lot of different organizations that put out a statement, if you will, when it comes to this. Has the NAACP taken any stance on this, put out any statement, or speaking to this in any way?
No, we haven't. We haven't been involved in it past what we've heard, and so until a family asks for the NAACP's assistance, typically we aren't involved in them unless it's a major event. I'm not saying this is not major, but a family normally will contact us and want to file a complaint and seek our assistance and help them resolve the complaint and whatever that might be. And so the short answer is no. We haven't done anything, though we're watching closely what happens. I was interested in the reasoning for taking forfeiting the bail money based on some practices. That's a normal procedure. I see it happen in some cases, but very seldom do I see them take someone's money when it doesn't belong to the person who put it up. And so that was an interesting thing that we'll be keeping an eye on, trying to figure out why they made that move. And was it intended to hurt future bail possibilities? by taking that money from the organization. So that does concern us that they took that move as an unusual measure.
Now, what do you mean when you say, real quick, what do you mean when you say taking that bail money from an organization? Like when you say that, how would that hurt future bail?
Well, I mean, $100,000 is a lot of money, and so when you think about somebody needing bail that's 5,000 or 4,000, some smaller number, well, effectively, I've eliminated 20 people that could be helped with bail if I make them forfeit that $100,000, and so it has other implications other than just saying we forfeited the money because he was picked up or committed some other type of offense, and you have to remind him that he's not been guilty of those. He's not been found guilty of any of those. And so the mere fact he was charged with them doesn't make it so. And for them to move so quickly to forfeit that bail, it just raises questions. They moved very quickly to forfeit that bail when I would have thought that they would have kind of made that through. You know, when you go on bail, you do agree to some stipulations, but any police officer on the street could make you forfeit that money. And in that situation, by simply charging you with jaywalking, the way some of those bail forfeitures go. So we just want to take a closer look at that and make sure that what they did was consistent with how they normally forfeit that money.
You're speaking to Black Lives Matter, correct?
Right, correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
And that's Black Lives Matter Louisville.
Yeah.
That we're talking about. Okay, because there's a national bail fund project, but then there's like the local fund project with Black Lives. Because I noticed in some of the comments out there, people are focusing on differentiating the two. I guess between a national bail project and a local bail project where the money was actually taken. Now, AHAMARA, as you're hearing, perspective from, some good quality people that we have here, what's your thoughts coming up behind this?
What was interesting, what Marcus said, I never looked at it in that perspective. Also not fully understanding how bails always work, so I'm glad he had an eye to see something like that. But again, here we are again, the fact that we're asking questionings and having a little bit of doubts means a whole lot. That means a lot, because it's not just the five of us that are here, but it is also the majority and bulk of community, and it's rather white, Black, Asian, or mixed, are raising this eyebrow. So my whole thing is how they're going to come out of this, because I feel like as community, as residents of Louisville, to combat this, because I feel like it, in my honest opinion, I do feel like it is what is it called? Publicity stunt of some sort. We have to keep questioning and confronting the issue until someone breaks and actually tells us what's actually going on, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And I think about it on Quintez's side. What does he have to gain out of all of this? Your name is damaged. Nobody probably would want to associate with somebody as a alleged murder, shooter. It's so many things. And like you said, I think Marcus was saying, everything is just happening so fast. And I take an issue with Councilman David James saying, an assassination attempt. Those are really huge words. And honestly, Greenberg, I'm not taking anything away from him, but you're not worth assassinating. You know what I'm saying? You're not that important. I'm trying to figure out your levels of importance to where this would be an assassination attempt. So that was huge. And, and how it spread through the media. One Saturday morning, I was just going to videos. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, everywhere, from podcasts. I'm like, how did it spread through the media that quickly? I mean, CNN, Fox. I mean, but then if you live here locally, us here at the bottom, we're sitting here like, now what was that? You know, but the rest of the world, you know, gets this story and they're looking at, you know, Louisville, Kentucky is like, oh my God, this is going on. And, you know, an assassination attempt, you know, it's just this hysteria with no evidence, with no information, just nothing. We don't really have anything. All we have is a story. That's all we have is a story and a gray sweater. That's what we do have. We have a story and a gray sweater. That is an image that I saw come across the television screen. But that's it. That's all we have. All we have is a story. We have nothing else. And what I was asking Sadiqa Reynolds on her post, because Joe was challenging, you know, accountability and stuff. And she was like, I'm not saying those will not be held accountable, but we just want him to have mental health treatment. And then my question was, which she never responded. I said, mental health treatment to what? What is this treatment for? And if it's so much for this, I don't know, shooting, what is it for? What is he getting mental health treatment for? And no one can answer that. And, you know, and you know, she never responded to any of my questions. I'm like, why can't you just answer basic questions? You know, and it's like, what are you getting him help for? What are we getting him help for? But nobody wants to talk about it. They're just pushing out the agenda and narrative of mental health. So, you know, for me, you know, like I said, I think it's a publicity stunt. It gives Greenberg like these 3 talking points. So since now that you've actually experienced, you know what I'm saying, all of a sudden, you know, with this shooting, you know, now you can speak to gun violence. And him getting out of jail so quickly. Now he can speak to the flawed system, the you know, flawed, you know, a flawed judicial system. And then he can go, now that, you know, he's a little shaken up or whatever, he can go about talking about mental health. You see what I'm saying? It gave him 3 easy talking points, platforms, right? So you know, those are things that I was looking at too. And I was just like, this is so odd. You know, even the follow-up, you know, after something like that happens, and, you know, I haven't ever been in the crossfire, but I know plenty of friends, family, people who have. You would think after something traumatic like that would happen, what you wouldn't be doing first is talking. You know, where was Barbara Saxton, you know, a campaign manager, anyone to speak for him? Because that is I just put a community member in a hotel yesterday because Saturday night and Monday night, her house was shot into. So
I don't know.
Huh? Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Panthers literally put her in a hotel yesterday because that is very traumatic to have to be met during crossfire. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know it's coming. You know what I mean? So, and she's been, you know, not quiet per se, but she has, because she's still trying to process it. And I was like, well, we need to get her out of that house so she can at least have some peace and be able to, you know, calm all that down. So immediately after this shooting, you're talking. And it's scripted. You're reading from so that means somebody wrote that. You know what I'm saying? And who had time to write that? You know what I'm saying? And now you're up here reading it, and I'm not convinced. I'm an empath. I'm not convinced by your emotions as you were speaking that this is what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's why they have to be careful with things like this. And politics. I mean, the truth is unbelievable, and the lie is the truth. Read it. Think about it again. You know what I'm saying? So some people can look at it and be like, no, nobody would do that. Why would somebody go through such great lengths? But sometimes you have to play that. You have to righteous people, good people that can't fathom something like that. But wicked, it does weird things. So
let me ask you, AHAMARA. You know, you're very involved. You are the head of the Black Panther Party here in Louisville. Your face is popping up everywhere. You know, all the candidates, they seem to all know you and seem to have some revere of your presence. What do you think about all of this happening around this time of the year? You got the election time, and we know that this election is on the heel of Breonna's death. Yeah. And so this is where the people who are running for office are going to either say it, use it as a part of their platform to get get you to vote for me. Hey, I'm going to set you free. So what do you think of what's going on in this atmosphere? The shooting, the Breonna, I think I've heard the trials going on with the gentleman, with the officer that shot into the house. Now we are back to street marching again. What do you think of all this atmosphere right here going on?
A lot of it I feel is orchestrated. Like one thing is happening to it. It's like a play-by-play book. It seems very orchestrated. Well, and it's all a distraction from something else. You know what I'm saying? There's still something behind us that we don't see. So this is what we see on the surface, and what energy like this tries to does is cause chaos. So it's not by coincidence. Brett Hagerson goes on trial a week before the anniversary of Breonna Taylor, gets off. You know what I mean? With the likelihood of this think tank is for mostly the Black community to get emotional, get in their feelings, get upset, go outside, take it to the streets. Now they're rowdy, and we start this whole thing again. And I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we can, hold our emotions and not do that, because that's what they're expecting us to do. This think tank, I should say, and I would call that think tank Black Lives Matter. But it's still, again, it would be a distraction. But again, it puts more focus, not just on Louisville. And see, I feel like there's two things, not just on the city, and now we're looking at the candidates, and let's see who's gonna, give their best gimmick to say how they're gonna make sure that this never happens again, type of thing. But when you look at it on another level, it's like, like Joe, I think, was saying once again, like Louisville, in order to get certain type of monies and fundings to come to the city, it has to look like a troubled area. So like Joe was saying, like we had the first 48, we was on there real tough, Breonna Taylor, that went everywhere, even the Daniel Cameron, that went, look at that, Daniel Cameron, all the way to Saturday Night Live, y'all. Was it really that deep? Saturday Night Live, Meg the feminist, that's what that was. That was feminism. Just lynch that man. It was just terrible. It was just terrible. And I feel like Daniel Cameron was set up. It was that operation was too much, and it happened in our city. It was very traumatic for me. And then it's like, here we go again. But the way we can stay on top of this whole operation is confronting it. It's confronting and asking the questions, because we weren't able to ask those questions with Breonna because everything happened fast. It was more fatal because a member of our community did die. You know what I'm saying? In this Greenberg situation, nobody is hurt. So they're just pushing a different agenda than what they were doing with Breonna Taylor. So what I'm seeing is that it's a playbook, and so it just takes a little bit more time to look within it and see what this playbook is. But it's to something. It's to something for sure.
Absolutely. And Peter, I do want to let you know that I did email you that link. So if you want to join in from your laptop, then I did email you that. Now, with what you said, number one, AHAMARA, yes, that was one thing that I notated was, what if this is about trying to stir up some federal funding of some sort? Maybe there's some federal grants out there for troubled cities, and you got to meet certain criteria and such. We get a lot of funding that comes through the door, and the big boys usually get it and focus on trying to distribute it out, supposedly. Now, Peter, when you look at this, if you have the ability to speak to this right now, when you look at this and you look at the dynamics of it all, the timing of it all, just as we pose that to AHAMARA, you've been in politics for years as well. How do you think this all plays out?
By the way, you sent me the YouTube link, not the StreamYard link.
Okay, I'll get that to you. How do you think that plays out with local elections?
And I guess I need to do a little bit of 30-second further introduction. When it comes to the political world, so I'm the only person in the history of Louisville, Better Days with Peter Hayes, to run for both mayor as both a Democrat and Republican. So I know both political mafias very, very well. And I'm also a political consultant now. So I'm working on 4 congressional races, 2 in Georgia, 1 in Ohio, 1 here in Louisville. I'm working on 3 city council, metro council races, county attorney, bunch of different races. So I run into a lot of people that are in this geopolitical world. And what, as John said, what has been reported is about 10% of what the truth is. And why would they push the mental illness so quickly? Like you said, everybody lockstep. So anyway, I have ears and eyes on the street of very credible people, and actually, I could bring one of them on the show next show anytime. But there's some very interesting things that I'm hearing, not only from other mayoral candidates. That stuff is going to hit. It's going to pop real soon because there's a lot. As Paul Harvey said, here's the rest of the story. I can get into a little details if you like, but it's not what's being reported. And there's reason why Sadiq Reynolds and other people and and David James are saying what they're saying. And there's a reason why Black Lives Matter bailed them out right away and forfeited the bail. And this is not coincidence. And anyway, so I have connections with people who work with New York Black Lives Matter. And here's, for example, Monday night, the shooting was Monday. Well, Monday night, Black Lives Matter, New York, called into Louisville, and the person who talked to my friend, who I can bring on the show next week, he's been involved in the Black Lives Matter protests pretty much every day. He was actually asked to take over the Louisville chapter because Chanel Helm got in a bunch of trouble, after she called for the assassination of Mitch McConnell and was on national TV. So anyway, this person was this community leader and was involved in that. So New York called him, and the lady said, "Hey, is this going to get back to us in New York? The Quintez shooting, Quintez Brown shooting?" And what she explained is that they had brought Quintez Brown to New York and trained him in gun training, along with 14 other young African American males from Louisville. So there was 15 of them all. So their big concern was that this is not going to push back on New York. That they gave him weapons training, and so anyway, so they had called. New York was calling him for a couple times, and so they came up with a plan. Like, okay, this is my thought. This is my thought. They came up with a plan. Well, snap, we can't let this come out in the news, and so they rushed to bail him out and forfeited the bail because none of this makes sense. They don't want this message to come out. And if he's crazy, okay, he's just crazy. And yeah, he's got a mental illness. But I've met Quintez Brown before. He was a Metro Council candidate for office. So he's been very involved. He's also a protege of Chanel Helm, who called for a political assassination. And, so anyway, now from the Craig Greenberg side, whoo, boy, I don't know, Joe, should I lay it all out or wait for another show?
Lay it out.
Well, we got some things being unleashed here soon. Definitely. But you can give us a little taste. You can give us a little taste. Just a little taste. But I want to keep it in the perspective of this particular, Quintez Brown and local elections. How it plays a part. So whatever you unleash, as you say, then keep it close to that scope.
Sure. Well, here's one thing very interesting. So, and earlier, why is Craig Greenberg so important as the national news? Well, he is the leading candidate. He's being propped up as the next mayor, and he's by far the front runner. And so unless this stuff hits the news, he's going to be our next mayor. And so that's big news. He's the mayor. He'd be the mayor of the 16th largest city. Okay, so he mentioned that he didn't know Quintez Brown.
Right.
That's interesting. But every report from a lot of people says that Quintez Brown knew him, had worked on his campaign on some level. And two reasons that people on the street have said, and these are reputable people, that why this went down is that Quintez was owed some money and he went to collect his money, and we weren't there, so we don't know what went down. The other thing on the street that's being shared on social media is that they had some type of relationship, and anyway, I'll put it at that. And
Personal relationship, right?
yeah, personal relationship.
Mm.
Now, if that's true, then why would Greg Greenberg, you know, mislead the community that he didn't know who he was, don't know him, he just came out of nowhere, you know. And we actually had a press conference outside of Craig Greenberg's office, and when we try to go up and talk to some of the campaign folks, they have an elevator. You get off on that second floor, and you can't get off because you need the code. And then we went up the stairs, and the door has a keypad on it, so we couldn't get in. And we wanted to say hello and wish them well, and make sure everyone was safe. So anyway, that was quite interesting. How did he get up there, and how did he get the key code, and you know, yeah. So a lot of things don't add up, and some of the other some of the other mayoral candidates know about this, and they're going to pop it out pretty soon. It'll come out sooner or later. Now, backtrack a little bit. My experience, and this is just Peter Hayes, better days for Peter Hayes, have run for city council, have run for mayor, both a Democrat, Republican, been involved in local, state, national, and global politics. Our city has been run by a clique of, couple factions. There's a very strong LGBTQ clique, and there's also, we got powers that be. There's power structures, but that is one of them. And the connection between Black Lives Matter and Quintez Brown, and our previous mayor, Jewish mayor, was absolutely was a homosexual, and was in the closet, and pushed a lot of the Fairness Amendment. And I got a whole history. That's a whole nother show. But better days with Peter Hayes, I know where a lot of skeletons are buried since I came to Kentucky in 1988 to be president of the American Family Coalition of Kentucky and president of the American Constitution Committee of Kentucky. And so I know where a lot of skeletons are buried in both parties, and both parties are fairly influenced by the LGBTQ community, and that's surprising to some.
Okay, so dropping a couple dimes there. I got you. I hear you. So when we really sit back and look at this, we're looking at the idea of potentially propping up crime in the city, getting it on a national level, to potentially reach out for some federal funding, where that's a potential, right? Some things are looking like that. Got to have meet certain violence requirements or violence numbers in order to get some of that funding, right? We've also got the potential of some very nefarious activity behind closed doors, just the same. And when we talk about that, then we're talking about influencing both wings, right? What do we say all the time? Right wing, left wing, wings of the same bird. So, we're talking about that as well. When we really look at this, John, you talk a lot about the stress factor, your peptides and all. How does this stuff play into, the mental state that we're keeping people in?
Better Days with Peter Hayes. He just dropped some shit, right?
and I want you to speak to that as well. But when you talk about the mental state, and then speak to what you heard from Peter as well.
Well, when it comes to grabbing people's energy, okay, so we understand the layman term. If you give attention to something, you're giving it your energy.
Yeah.
Whether it is something that you will consider negative or whether you consider positive, if you give it your attention, you give it your energy. If you give it your energy, now that means that how much of your energy are you giving that, and that how much energy are you taking from something else you could be doing. And so these conversations right here are loaded with a lot of information that draws everyone's attention. So I see a lot of this as a great distraction. It's very interesting. Even this guy who we call our president, he even weighed in on this subject and made a statement and used the word assassination. And when a president uses the word assassination, it's bigger than just the word attempted murder. When you use the word assassination, that's a different ball game. Here you have a Jewish guy.
A different charge.
Yeah, here you have a Jewish guy, and you mentioned the word assassination running for office. Well, guess what? That bell rings all the way to Israel, and all the money's going to pump in because that's publicity. And
Absolutely.
We know there are certain people love being victims, right? And so we can feed off being a victim, and we can get money off being a victim because it's energy. So there it is, So now, because he's Jewish, and because he was an attempted assassination, that brings in all the other people who relate to that victimization to come to his aid. And so this is where it gives him great free publicity, free notification, people paying attention. I didn't even know who he was until the so-called attempted murder thing. And now I know who he was, right? So he done did more work for this. In other words, getting people to know who he is. This got him on the map, if anything else has.
Been the leading candidate. I mean, yeah, not everyone's in the geopolitical world like I am, but no, he's raised over 1.2 million. He's got this thing locked up unless this thing hits the fan, what we're talking about. And he may still win because the power structure, they're all in on this, and he's been the anointed one. So, unless something pops up where one of the other candidates has enough resources and kahunas, to be honest, because, and this is an aside, when I ran against Jerry Abramson, they threatened my life. We called the FBI in, and I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but that would be a great show. So yeah, when you oppose the power structure substantially,
hold on, because you can't just glaze over that. You can't just glaze over that. But real quick, let me see if she's still here. Sis, I know she has to go, and I wanted to exit her properly. General Sis AHAMARA, are you still here? Hold on, real quick. Okay, she may have already stepped out, but I just want to exit her properly and just let it be known that is General AHAMARA Mathis. Okay, here we go. We'll remove this and then add her here. But that is General AHAMARA Mathis, who is the general of the Louisville Revolutionary Black Panther Party. Where can they find information on how to get in contact with you, get in contact with the party, and all that good stuff?
Yes, they can contact us at our email, which is rpantherparty@gmail.com. Also our Facebook page, which is the Revolutionary Black Panther Party Corporation. Our website, which is pantherlou.wixsite.com/RBCP. And just and I want to say this before I get out of here, because I'm like Bobby Seale now. Seize the time, because hold on, let me understand.
What does that mean?
Hold on. Let's
What that mean?
okay, go ahead. You're fine.
Okay. I try to explain my best to the Black community that Black Lives Matter is not your movement. It was not created for you. It's not organized by you. It's not funded by you. It is not yours. But the Black Panther Party is yours, and it's all power to the people, to humanity. And so I think at this time in Louisville, Kentucky, we get ready to set it off because, Peter Hayes said, he thinks he has this in the bag. It's all set up, but we, the people, we must confront this. Now, if y'all want to go to the streets, I think this would be a good time to take it to the streets because here we would go again, rolling on the third year of more corruption. We're not doing this for another. But no. We had 2 years of corruption, scandals, everything that you can think of, and they're trying to keep it going. So it is going to be up to us. It is going to be up to the citizens of Louisville, Kentucky to confront this, challenge this, stop it, and break it. And we can do that. We, the people, we are not the minority. We are the majority, is us. Just because their monies, you know what I'm saying, they think they have monies, their monies equate powers. No, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It's an influence, but it's not equate power. The power the power is and will always be with the people. So we, the city of Louisville, Kentucky, need to come together, figure it out how we're going to challenge this monster, this beast, this operation that they have going. Because no, I will not have another mayor sit in office with corrupt views, things that they're doing. No. And it's out of the bag. This is called misconduct, because we made that in our statement. If we find out that there's any misconduct, that's over for you in your election. And so now it's time to do the work.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Well, you guys have heard it here first. That was yet a firm statement from General AHAMARA Mathis of the Louisville Revolutionary Black Panther Party. Thank you so much, sis. We appreciate
and
you.
we actually need to bring her back, and maybe she needs to be announced as the national general of the party because she's really involved into this, right? I mean, I don't even hear this information from the national party, but nevertheless, you go, sister.
All power to the people.
It is. We appreciate you.
Okay. All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
So, Peter, as we're, kind of, nearing the end of the show in a sense, when you really look at this, kind of going into what you were saying a minute ago, is this all, are we dealing with just a ploy to try to put a particular person in candidacy? Is this Greenberg supposed to come out and be the savior at this point of gun rights and things of that nature? What do you think the next move will be from their party? I'm sorry, you're on mute there. Let's see here. I might be able to move you. I think I can unmute. There you go. I got you.
Can you hear me now better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And let me take 10 seconds or so. I'm a global tribal messiah. So I always look at things from the cosmos down to the universe, to the globe, to the nation, America, to the state, Kentucky, to the city, Louisville, to the Metro Council District, to the precinct, to the blocks, to the family, to the individual. So whenever I'm thinking, it's always cosmically, and then to the what's best. What's best for the cosmos? What's best for the universe? What's best for the globe? What's best for the nation? What's best for Kentucky? What's best for Louisville? What's best for 26 Metro Council? And that's not everyone can understand that, but anyway. So whatever I deal with in truth in life is if it's not congruent with the cosmos, meaning it doesn't bless all 8 billion people, something's wrong. Okay. And if America whatever plan and program, if it doesn't bless all 350 million Americans, something's wrong. 4 million Kentucky, 750,000 Louisvillians, 27,000 Metro Council, on down to the precinct level, which is about 1,200 people. So what I have done is, and I'm a solution-based guy. You know, what we're doing needs assessment. Okay, what's the problem? The six major institutions are deal with is faith-based.
Froze up on us.
And they've been corrupted.
Now you cut out. You cut out at faith-based. That was the last thing we heard, and then it froze.
Okay, so faith-based, number one. Those are any spiritual community. Okay, number two is government, local, state, and federal, and global. So 4 levels of government, business, and economic development. Number 4 is clinic, so nonprofit work and where people need healing. The fifth one is family. Every individual is born from at least a sperm and an egg, so we come from some sort of family. And then education on local, state, higher education. So those 6 things. So whatever we do should benefit every single person. Now, our system does not do that. And most of the world's religions have a story that the creator, which he's good or she's good, the parent, whatever, created things good. And human beings, we messed it up and we continue to mess it up. And the goal is bring healing and wellness to us as individuals, families, businesses, schools, all these systems. They're all man-made. Religion is man-made. Governments are man-made. Businesses are man-made. Clinics, nonprofits, man-made. Families are man-made, and schools. So if man misuse and mess this up, guess what? I'm talking about man and woman, mankind can correct them. So that's how I operate. And so I've come up with a program to solve the disenfranchisement of the 8 billion people on earth, because the 1%ers control it. And it's called the precinct council, based on the Lord's Prayer. And I can share that at a further time, because that's a whole show. And it literally includes, here in Louisville, every individual lives in a precinct. Okay. And each of the Metro Council districts, there's 26 of them, are have about 20 precincts, and a precinct's about 12 to 1,500 people. So we're working on this right now. We're engaging all 26 Metro Council districts, all 630 precincts, and we're literally engaging all 750,000 Louisville residents, because we're going to ask them, pick one of those 6 working groups that you want to improve in your community. Faith-based, you want to pray for your neighbors. Spirituality. Government, you want to make sure the police is working. Block watch. Business, economic development. Clinic is where people come for healing. Drug and alcohol abuse, domestic abuse. And then education, elementary, middle, high school, secondary, and ongoing. And what's exciting about that, this is not the government, okay? Because the government is one institution of those 6 that deal with everyday life. Here's the problem. The 1% who have all, and I ask you this, does anyone know what the 1% really represents, that term?
Are we talking dollar amounts, or are we talking people who have pledged allegiance to some underworld being? Which are we talking about?
Yeah, people complain it's the 1% against the 99%. What does that actually refer to? A lot of people have different ideas, but maybe we can just get a quick answer from everyone.
I think it's information.
And let me introduce you guys. This is brother. Like I told you, we're gonna have different people popping in and out. This is brother Joe Reeves, who he works. He works on a local level with a lot of young men in programs and such like that. So he's somebody who you know, if Quintez Brown, you know, got in trouble, or he would be somebody who he would have mentored Quintez Brown. You know, he would have helped mentor him coming up through a lot of these things. So, you know, and I'm sure, you know, Joe has a host of other things that he does as well that he'll speak to. But go ahead with what you were saying there, brother.
Yeah, I think the 1%. I mean, I think the 1% is information. You know, that's the key to everything. The
Yeah,
money can only get you so far. You know.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it. So here's technically what the 1% represents. It means that 1%, this is globally, and I'll get to America, 1% of the population owns as much corporate and equity and real estate wealth as the bottom 99% together. And you all ought to write this down because this is very important. 1% of the world's population owns as much corporate wealth, real estate equity as the bottom 99% put together. So you put 99 of us together, all of our house, wages, whatever, and then one person, you know, Joe Tapper owns as much as the rest of us and 97 more people. Now,
Yeah.
and that's the 1%. Now, in America, it's the top 10% owns as much wealth as the bottom 90% combined. So we are more equitable in some ways, but it's still 10% of the population own as much wealth if you put all the 90%, which is your poor folks, your middle class, even upper middle class. So now the thing is, money is not everything, but you know, money controls politics, it controls media, you know, and it controls everything in life, you know. It shouldn't, but it does. I mean, that's just a whole card, you know, it's the whole. So the 1% people are able to run the governments of the world, you know, run the media. They own the media, they own the schools, the education. So that's why this precinct council, I told you, the only way to tear down that evil kingdom is build up the kingdom of heaven on earth, which, you know, if those of us who know the Bible, Jesus talked about thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. And so that Lord's Prayer is what we took and created those 6 institutions that can be used globally, and we're promoting it globally. And it's self-government. See, if you either believe in the individual sovereignty, okay, or you believe in bureaucratic things. And so you either believe that each individual is a sovereign human being endowed by their authority from their creator, or you don't. And if you don't, then you're going to be you either be an individual sovereignty person, or you're going to be controlled by someone else. And we use a term in the just third way, which is an alternative to both capitalism and socialism. And we say you either own, OWN, or be owned. So you either own or be owned, and that's anywhere in the world. So the 1%, you know, control it, and you know, they just, you know, they just do what they do, and you know, so the system that we operate in is not perfect, and especially economically, globally, we have 2 economic systems. Well, we have 3. We have capitalism, and that's more, you know, for the West, and then we have communism, socialism, Marxism, communism, and both of them are we say capitalism is based on institutionalized greed, right? Greed. How much can I money? And socialism, communism is based on institutionalized envy. You know, hey, I want something. I want to take from someone. I have the right, you know, to take from someone because I want it. And so, what our system is justice-based system, justice-based economic system. The just third way is a justice-based system, and so it's different from. And if I ask you this question, is envy and greed, are those virtues or vices?
Those are vices.
Vices.
Okay. Now, is justice a virtue?
It should be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think it's a virtue. Yeah.
So we have a virtue-based economic and geopolitical system that we're building versus an envy-based socialism, communism, or a greed-based capitalism. And ours is a free market system. See, people confuse free market with capitalism. The word capitalism came from Karl Marx. How many people knew that? And who was Karl Marx?
Well, we know that's where Marxism came from.
Marxism, yep. Communism, and it's based on. And I've taught. I was in Russia. Interesting. I was in Crimea, Russia, in 1989. When did the Soviet Union fall? 1989. I was teaching and educating this global vision there, and we taught tens of thousands of Russians and Ukrainians. Guess who we were teaching? College professors, college leaders, college students, high school principals, and high school teachers. And amazing story. I was actually working in the only camps that they had in the Soviet Union were decent were in the Black Sea, Crimea. And that's where all the communist leaders had their summer homes, boom, 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 boom. And so I'm working with this KGB colonel, okay? And I was charged, my role, besides I gave some lectures, and I played guitar, so I was helping with music. I was paying all the bills, okay? So I was bringing this KGB colonel dude about $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 cash every day because we had to pay for breakfast, lunch, dinner, the housing, boom, boom, boom. So when I first met with him, so I'm coming in from America. I'm in Kentucky. This is an amazing story. Anyway, we fly to Helsinki, Finland, one of the most advanced countries in the world. It's actually the most expensive city in the world if you look it up, Tokyo and Seoul. And I've been to both those places. Well, okay, so we go to Helsinki and we get on a Russian Aeroflot plane, which was very shaky. I mean, it was like way. So we fly from Helsinki into Sebastopol, Ukraine. Okay. Well, when we got there, when we went in to get our bags, and there's 200 of us. Okay. We had our buses waiting. Guess what? We go there and they said, well, we're waiting for our luggage. So I talked to the guy in charge. He said, well, we don't have any bag handlers here today. I say, what? Run that by me, Doc. And he said, no one's here to take your bags off the plane. And he was trying to hustle me. He was trying to shake me down. And I said, well, what do you mean? You knew we were coming. Yeah. Yep. Why don't you have any bag handlers? Because we got 200, 250 people. We got buses waiting that we're paying. And anyway, little my history, which tell you how I operate. I'm from New York, and I used to be a con man, a thief, a drug dealer until 19. So
listen, Peter, listen, you got a story, man, by yourself. Yeah. We can have a whole show on you for the rest of the month. But I want to go to the brother here. He had a question for you. Brother, you want to go ahead and ask that question?
Peter.
Yeah.
When the natives ran into certain troubles, when it was famine or whether it was weather, whatever, they shifted. They picked up, rolled out, and settled elsewhere. I've driven all over this country. There's so much beautiful vacant land all over the world.
Yep.
Where does this sense of obligation of fixing Louisville or anywhere else for that matter, where does that sense of obligation come from? Because it's still a choice.
I would say if I look at the cosmic level for top down, either an individual is connected to the heavenly part or cosmos, or they're more connected to the evil side of the cosmos, the dark side. And that's more, the cosmos, the like I said, the cosmos, just we know, made up of the spirit world and the physical world. Okay, so it's the physical spiritual world that's intangible, we can't see it, and then the physical world, and they're supposed to be harmonized. But when they get out, the whole story, and I come from a Judeo-Christian Islamic background. I've studied world religion, so I pretty got a good handle. Almost all the world's religious philosophies tell some story of, hey, the creator is a good dude. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. The creator's a good dude or dudess or goddess, and created everything for us. We got air to breathe, we got food to eat, and created everything for us. And at some point, way, way, way back, our ancestors, decided to listen to some other folks and went a different road, and they've just been multiplying. Some goodness, but also some craziness, and it's the same thing. And as what John mentioned, are we going to focus on the goodness? Which is prosperity for all mankind, even for the spiritual world, to prosperity for the spiritual world? Or are we going to hem and haw and look at all the bad things? Because that is a bad energy. Now, we, as a leader, we got to look at the needs assessment, say, okay, what's wrong and how do we get back on track? And we go to prayer and working together. And that's what I've been doing for 40 years. And I've come up with a geopolitical solution. I've come up with an economic solution called the Just Third Way. And actually, I learned from others. I'm a sponge. Boop, 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 boop. I just, I didn't create all this. This was, learning from different people, bits and pieces. But I'm kind of unique because I've been involved in those 6 stakeholders. I've been involved in ministry, spiritual work all over the world.
Let me ask you this. It's very interesting as I listen to you. When you're speaking about the cosmos and the earthly things, you're speaking about alignment. You're speaking to that things are in alignment with the universe. I like to use the word universe opposed to cosmos, to where your lifestyle and whatever it is you're doing is in alignment. When you are walking in alignment of the universe, everything works in your favor. When things not working in your favor, it's mainly because the universe is not, you're not in alignment with the universe. So let me ask you this question here. On a global scale, when you're talking about the 1%, and I understand the 1% of the people that are controlling the world. Now, when you speak about people of color, whether we're talking Black people, whether we're talking Asians, when we're speaking about people of color, do you see the difference in the European controlling of this whole global? Do you think that is something that is a virtue, meaning that we see right now Europeans are in control? We understand that Europeans are the ones that basically have stolen all the information that we see today. We understand that even in using cell phones and this technology, people of color created it. And we see who have taken that and then put their face on it. We can look at ancient history where even when we're talking about any system of knowledge, going way back, even in China, when you go further back, you see people of color. Whether we're going in any country, you see the original people being the people of color, and then you're seeing this replacement of another people in place of the people who originated. Where do you sense that understanding? And I know you mentioned about your traveling the world and you've seen a lot of things. Where is it that you see that is wrong with the European thinking? Because Europeans are victim too if they believe that they're the one that started civilizations. If Europeans think that they're the one that started civilization, that they're in the same condition as these 1% is controlling them to believe that. Because the 1% has to be a lie if we're looking at the system and saying, well, it looks like Europeans started everything. What you know of your history, you would know this to be a factual lie. So the point is that I guess I'm asking you in a sense, Where do you feel about that issue? Because I noticed that you are very much concerned in this area of Louisville, what's going on in Louisville, specifically in the Black Lives Matter and the Black concept of what's happening. In other words, I'm just paraphrasing the word Black. Where do you see that in this 1% and the Europeans who are running it, and where you see the people of color getting that back, or even understanding the concept of that 1% is mostly a European base control?
It isn't.
And real quick, Peter, before you answer, I want to jump real quick to I've got to make sure that we do pay a couple bills, and let me do a couple commercials real quick. So Peter, hold that thought, because I want to come back to you on that thought as well. And as we move there, then we'll do a round robin of wrapping up as well with last words.
Habibi Trading Company, home of soap sticks and Saya Baba products. Over 400 locations at a store near you. Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky. Or get yours online at sayababa.com. Again, that's sayababa.com. Habibi Tumi Trading Company, owned by yours truly, John Ya Esoteric Concept.
Hey folks, check out healthdaddywow.net. 100% plant-based herbs and supplements. Whether you're in person or online, use the word tipping for 10% off. Remember, feel better, look great, healthdaddywow.net. Remember, healthdaddywow.net.
Folks, make sure you do check out our website at thetippingpointshow.com. Again, that is thetippingpointshow.com. Check us out. And just the same, like you saw Health Daddy Wow. That's healthdaddywow.net. Make sure you check them out, as well as Media Joy there. Great stuff. And again, Saya Baba. You can check them out. And don't forget godslivesmatter.com. You can click on the apparel link and get yourself a nice free bracelet from them. That is awesome stuff. You can hit up Incrediblecustom.com. That's INKREDIBLE custom.com. Text the word INC to area code 678-506-7543. All right. Check them out for any of your online promotional needs, in-person flyers, posters, T-shirts, all that good stuff, folks. Make sure you check them out. Peter, back to you with that thought that you're holding.
Yeah, but the base up, the roundup is that I like what you're talking about. How can we get more people that look like you to hear that message?
Well, and I'm glad you're sitting down, because I don't want y'all to fall off your seats. And I'm glad and it's funny, when I preach or teach at churches, I've done this before. I hand out rocks to the people. Now, why would I do that?
So that they could stone you if you say the wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because now the one scripture says, "Be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove." So I don't give them real rocks. I give them paper mache.
Okay. So I was kind of right? Okay.
So when I start and I tell them, listen, they're like, well, why do we got these paper mache? Because when I lay real truth, it's some of you going to say amen. Some of you going to say, oh my goodness, he's talking about me. and so anyway, so I give them.
Has anyone ever thrown their paper mache at you?
Yeah, a couple. They wanted to, but they're in church, so it's like, God, I don't. But it's very an interesting analogy, because when we really get deep into this stuff, and myself, when I go, I'm a recovering racist, alcoholic. All of us are recovering human beings we're recovering alcoholics, drug addicts, racists, And so if we admit that, first thing you go into AA meeting is like, hey, I'm Peter Hayes and I'm an alcoholic, right? So we're recovering, but it's a lifelong process. So to answer John's question, there's a spirit, and here's what there's a spirit world and a physical world, right? And so the spirit world is subject over physical world. Okay. Now, in human beings, we are what we call triune beings, meaning we have a spirit, we have a mind, and then we have a body. And the spirit is subject over the mind, the body subject object is object. So, and then the mind is subject over the body. The body tells us what the body does what the mind tells us, right? Are you following me so far?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Now, if I ask you guys, hey, you brothers are real intelligent, can you show me your mind?
Can I show you my mind? Well,
Yeah.
let me answer it. Let me answer it this way. The mind is not in the brain, but the brain is in the mind.
Well, show it to me. Show it to me.
It is my whole physical.
Okay.
My mind is here and my gut. It is actually my whole vibrational aura. That's my mind.
So yeah, you're exactly right. So the mind is intangible, so is the spirit with the physical sense.
Yeah.
So I usually joke with people, show me your mind, put it in my hands, and then I say, what's the matter? You've lost your mind? You can't give it to me? So you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So this is very important. So when I start dealing with people, if they don't understand the subject-object relationship, which is cosmic, universal, something's in the subject position, the creator, then everything on earth and created beings are in the object position. Okay. So that's really, really important. So when it comes to why I say universe, the universe is this physical universe. Okay. That's different than the cosmos, which is the spiritual world, cosmic world, and includes the physical universe. Our planet is one planet in this physical universe, and even scientists tell us there may be multiple thousands of universes. So this physical world and universe is so expansive. How much more expansive is the spiritual world? And John's right. The vibrations, when anything in the cosmos or the universe is in alignment with the cosmos, which is the subject, harmony comes. When anything's out of line with the subject, then there's chaos. So getting back to this world, our globe, so to speak, we have the reason why the world is messed up is because we are not vibrating correctly with the cosmos. And the cosmos is about love, about living for the sake of others, these universal spiritual values, And so anyone who's not true love, we say true love is different than love. True love is like sacrificial love, living for the sake of others. So look, an individual born in a family should live for the sake of his family, right? The higher purpose. And there's harmony. And so a husband and wife, they live for each other. So the husband should love his wife more than himself, and the wife should love his husband more than themselves. And they both should love the creator more than themselves. So if I wish I had my PowerPoint. So God, the creator's here, male, female, children. It's a 4-position foundation. The whole cosmos operates in that way. The subject is the creator, and then it divides it. The two dualities are subject and object in the cosmos and the universe, and masculine and femininity. Okay. So you got the creator, the subject, and over not just human beings, but animals, plants, everything that in the created world. Okay. So the creators and when it comes to human beings, and this is why the family is so important. The creator is in the subject. The male should love the Lord with all his heart, mind, and soul. What does that mean? Be a godly person, a loving person. And I don't even like to use godly because that's kind of a Christian concept. A creationist. I'm a creationist. People say, "Are you a Christian?" No. Are you a Jew? No. I'm a creationist. Means I'm dealing with the creator. So, okay. So if a man loves the creator more than himself, then he's in his vertical, right? He's aligned, he's in harmony, as John said. And then a female also is in harmony with the creator and creation and the cosmos. Then wow, when they come together and mate, then the creator is actually part of that love making. Okay. So the root of their love is coming from the creator. Okay. So the result of that is children that are created with the right motivation. Anyway, that's very deep, but so
I think you got some deep brothers here that are able to go in as well.
Well, I think that's deep, yes, but it didn't answer the question of why. How can we get more people look like you, think like you?
yeah, I'm going to get to that because
Okay.
look, what do you what? I'm going to challenge you on some of your statements. Okay, look like me. What are you talking about?
Well, we understand as we're talking here, we understand that 1% or that 5% of we understand this concept of this propaganda that is being used, even when propaganda is being used again to get people of color or to
Okay, hold on,
be.
hold on. And I'm real. I like to go step. There are no people of color. So
Yeah.
let's
Yeah. Well, when I'm speaking to the framework, and when I'm speaking to the framework is that we understand that there's a basic understanding about when we talk about people of color and when we speak about those who are against us, those
well, who
who
told
are.
you? Okay, hold on.
So when I was just speaking about things dealing with practices and creations, where we understand that African culture has spread it all over the continent. And we understand that the European culture has limited creation, meaning that what you have is Europeans that are great thieves of what was created by Africans, or another word, people of color. My question is, when we're talking about this percentage of people that are running the world, they don't look like the people of color. We understand that everything that was created from us was stolen from us and mimic and look like it was someone from the European community created it or started it. And as I said earlier, even when we look at technology, even when we look at cell phones, whatever it is you're looking at today, we were the author of the creation, even in farmland. I mean, even in farm equipment, we invented all the farm equipment, but the patent was stolen from us, and then it appeared like it's somebody. Even when we talk about doctors and people of medicines, where this came from, and when we talk about those who the father of medicine, he went to Africa to study it, but we don't talk about that. We stop right there with him. My point I'm making is that when you're talking to a person of color, you got to understand that there's a signal or a what I would like to use, a trigger word, triggers all of us of color in the same area. When we talk about, if I use the word, if I'm talking to a bunch of people who look like me, and I use the word enemy, everybody's mind goes towards a person who is European. If I go towards and use the word oppressor, everybody's mind of people of color look at the European as the oppressor. So we won't play with the words. We understand that these concepts. My thing is that when we're talking about that 1%, when I said that mostly white people who are not of that 1% believe that they are the ones who created civilization themselves. So they are subjected to the lies, as we are subjected to the lies. I mean, African Americans have been subjected to the lies for over 400 years in this country, being lied to who we are and what we have really contributed to humanity. There are Europeans who live in this country suffering the same lie, that they think they are the ones that created society and everything around you, right? My question is, I know since you traveled, you understand that that's not the case, and you have to understand that that's not the facts. My question is, again, how can we get people who look like you, meaning European descent, to think like what you're thinking when we're talking about the 1% or even the 5%? Because a lot of people don't understand that. We understand it because we on the bottom end of the oppressed end. So we see things differently than Europeans seeing things. So we have a different lens, as you have a different lens. So my question is, I love what you're saying, and I'm in alignment with it. But it's not so much as for people who look like me hearing it, it's people who look like you hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and those are deep questions. I don't believe, and I'm going to get very specific. John, if you remember on the Man Up show after the after show, you asked me a question like, as a white person, blah blah blah. I remember I joked in the rounds, but I said, John, you asked the right person, because Better Days with Peter Hayes is the official global spokesperson for all white people. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I'm
Mhm.
walking in that in one level, but okay. So here's what happened. What got us off track in the beginning is we were created by our creator, human beings, in his image, the creator's image and likeness, and we were created as males and females, and we were given three simple basic things to do: be fruitful, which is individual, in alignment, like you're talking about, multiply, create a, godly family, and then have dominion over the earth. Well, our first human ancestors said, they started listening to some other, spiritual being, and they got off track. So what happened from the get-go is we had division, we had sexism, males against females, okay? And it amazingly, at least in a Judeo-Christian Islamic tradition, Cain killed Abel. So the first human family, and these are stories we know, but the psychology we really have to understand. So you had a murder in the first human family. So sexism came into play, and then division along ethnicities. Racism is something fairly new, and I'll get to that. But you know, we had one brother killing his own brother in the first human family. It didn't take 10 years later, 10 generations. So that dysfunction, which we call the fallen nature, our original nature is connected to the creator, and we all have an original mind. But guess what? We also have a fallen nature that's selfish, greedy, lustful, judge people on skin color. So if the original ancestors had not screwed up, this world would be in totally alignment with the creator. So the idea that there's different races came from white supremacy teaching in Europe, and and it was two core factors of it. The first teaching and doctrine, which I believe is evil and satanic, is that there are 5 different species of human beings on the earth, and they call them races, and they are what? Black, white, red, yellow, and brown. And that's the core teaching. Okay. The second core part of it is that the white race is superior, and the other 4 races, black, yellow, red, and brown, are inferior, and they're heathens. Okay. And that's what you're talking about. Now, we've been dealing with that for 500 years,
In
because,
America.
yeah. And there's been a battle. Now, to the credit, there were some British Christians who said, and that, okay, what did that do? That allowed for all this corruption we're talking about. It allowed to enslave other people, because you can't enslave another man, really, you can't justify, but you can enslave a heathen. Okay. That's where the white man's burden, Anyway, this dysfunction led to a lot of the stuff you're saying. Now, because I am not a white supremacist racist, I do not agree with them. I repudiate all over the world to white people. No, I don't use white anymore. Europeans, Asians, my wife's from Japan, Japanese, Korean. Nobody can tell me that there is 5 different species of human beings, and they're based on their skin color. And here's what I use: science. Okay. And the in the animal world, a rabbit cannot be humping a squirrel and reproduce, right? Because they're two species of animal, two different species. Let's look
Hmm.
at a buffalo and an elephant. They can't be humping each other and reproduce because guess what? There are two species of animals. The human beings, a guy from Nigeria can mate with a gal from Brazil and they can have children. A gal from Sweden and a guy from Pakistan can mate and they can have children.
Yeah.
There's no two human beings, males and females, that cannot reproduce. Now, I'm proof of that because my wife's from Japan. According to the white supremacist, she's a yellow woman of a different species, and I shouldn't mess with her. But guess what? We made it and we got two kids. The proof is in the pudding. So this is pure science. So what I'm encouraging people, do not call me. If you call me white man, we're going to go to blows. If you say I'm a black man, well, okay. If you insist that you're a black man, because here's another trick. These 5 races, white is good, these other 4 are bad. If you say I'm black or I'm a brown man or I'm a yellow man or I'm a red man, you're agreeing that you're second class and you're a minority. And each of those 4 subclasses have a slur to them. And I grew up in New York. We know all the racial slurs. My people, Irish, we're mixed. The Italians were Guineas and Wops, the Polacks, and black people were the N-word. And so if you say I'm black, you're really saying I agree with white supremacy. I's a nigger. Let's keep it real. And if I'm brown person, I's a spick. Okay. And I'm a yellow man. I's a chink. And I'm a red man, usually redskin or an Indian. Okay. And this is psychological. So if you use the terminology of white supremacy language, subconsciously, and John, I liked your speech at that Juneteenth special event at Muhammad Ali. You broke it down. There's subconscious stuff and conscious. So in our subconscious, we're programmed to use this white supremacy racist language, and it's both sides. It's we're all programmed. So I'm saying let's deprogram ourselves and just come out and there's human beings, and we are literally, if we're in tune with the creator, we are one family under our creator. That means we're all brothers and sisters, and anything else 1% is off or 90% is blacked out, and
So Peter,
it'll never work.
Peter. So in order to get people that look like you to think or talk like you, do we need a vaccine?
Yes, I am better days with
Is there a shot?
Hayes.
Is there a shot that we can, formulate, go around and just walk up behind people and boom, hit them in the neck with it, and all of a sudden,
shot of the truth.
They start thinking of the cosmos as well. Is there anything like that we can do? And Joe, I know you had a couple things that you were speaking to in private chat here. You we're talking about pivoting on the axis of polarity, and stuff like that. Peter, finish up what you're saying, and then I want Joe to talk to that, and then we're gonna wrap up here shortly.
Yeah. So what happens is, because of white supremacy brainwashing for 500 years, a lot of people in the West, they have a superiority complex and an inferiority complex. So to even bring the question of people like me, you're saying you are separate from me and you're inferior, and that you should not accept that. You should not.
Well, I think he's saying people that look like you.
But what does that mean? I'm an Irishman from New York. I've been all over Europe. Russians are
people
totally
that look like Irishmen from New York. How do we get more of them
let's get specific.
How do we get more of them?
So you talking about the supporting cast on A Bronx Tale?
Exactly.
The bottom line is there are no white people, no black people, no brown people. There are people, and so
Correct.
The sooner we stop using white supremacist racist language and we get out of that.
So then how do we get more people to think like you?
Well, the vaccine is Better Days with Peter Hayes. Just turn them on to me.
Okay. All right. So we went around and we're coming back to the idea that Better Days with Peter Hayes. So I just need a recording of what you just spewed over the last 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna go to a bunch of places of people that look like you, and I'm just gonna play it on loudspeaker. And let them know that it's. I'm gonna let them know that it's. Hey, this is people that look like you speaking like this. So get on board. That'll be the antidote.
And I speak this. I speak it to Asian people, African people.
I'll make sure to let them know that it's Peter Hayes with Better Days with Peter Hayes, the world representative for all white people. I will make sure.
And I really don't like that. And just tell them that Better Days with Peter Hayes is the global tribal messiah, and that'll blow their mind.
Okay, all right. So now, Joe, you said something about pivoting on the axis of polarity. Simplified, it's the union between wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Jump into that real quick and speak to that.
All right. Well, Peter, in his response to Brother Yah, was talking about the 4 positions, which is 2 triangles. On an axis, just the mirror of it, and the polarity of triangulation is where power comes from. So I want to go back to what Brother Yah was asking, and every descriptive term that Brother Yah used in asking his question was the corporate fiction. As above, so below. It's the programming, because labels are for boxes and jars, not humans. But we've been taught to use descriptive terms to bring light to what it is that we're attempting to define, which is already defined. We're looking at the definition. We're looking at the living, breathing, moving, thinking definition of humanity. So when I look back at what Sister One of a Kind, what she said about the race piece, the race piece isn't a color, though we've been convinced to refer to color.
Yes,
it's still a spiritual war, beginning and end. It's still a spiritual war. The vessels that carry out the actions of the spirits. That's another show. That's when we get into Beelzebub and these controlling spirits that get the results through actions of willing and vacant vessels, right? So, but if you go to the S as in Sam, F as in Frank, the Sam Frank 181 document, that's where you'll find the definition of race. That's the United States race identification document. You can go on there and pick whatever color you want. You go to your county attorney's office, and tomorrow you can be white. Next week, you can be native. The week after that, you can be Asiatic. Then you can roll right back to being black, for Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really a game like that. Because the colors represent levels of rights, not complexion.
That's right.
And now Brother Yah, you go to the county attorney's office in Jefferson County and say, I'm white. And they're going to fight you. They might even make you go to court. But you're going to say, I don't fit the definition of black according to your document.
Right.
Because I don't have anybody in North Africa that I can call and say, what's up, Aunt? How's the family? When's the next barbecue? When we getting together? I don't have anybody.
What are you talking about? We don't do barbecues here.
Right. So that corporate fiction of and you know, while brother y'all, while you were talking, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, we've paid as a society, we've paid gazillions of dollars and gallons of blood and the price that we've paid for the lie. And how many more are we going to charge for it? How many more are we going to tax for it? Which leads back to the question that I asked Peter about the obligation, that feeling of obligation to save Louisville or save anything or save anybody.
Versus what?
Versus
Destroy it.
versus truly accepting truth ourselves.
Yep.
When we divinely align with the polar cosmos, that our level of attraction is what's gonna awaken the rest of the flock. They're not gonna be able to deny it, because when you walk in the room, they're automatically drawn to you without you saying a word.
Yeah, when
That
Mr.
happens
Charlie's
to me
in the
often.
room.
That happens a lot to me.
Yep.
Your magnetism is the magnetism piece. I experience it a lot because I'm in a lot of large venues. And a lot of strangers come to me and I'm asked to do this, and I'm like, why me? You know, there's a lot of vacant candidates out here that can fill that space, but it's a magnetism thing. They don't even understand it. The same people that want to hate you because of your complexion, but can't deny you because of your spiritual power.
Yeah, that's right. That's laws of attraction and that
Laws of
energy.
attraction, right? And all of us on here know, we know what that is. We experienced that.
Yeah.
I've experienced. That's why I'm sitting on the line with you guys today, because the single time that we were all in the same room at the same time was Juneteenth last year.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali Center. Yep.
And I knew of everyone on the line. I had met Peter a few years back, mutual friend. Tap and I had met over the phone. Brother Yah and I had met on a show on the Tipping Point.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we all came in the room together, there was a mutual respect. There was an automatic blending of this triangulation of power that led a whole group of people into a mindset of acceptance of who they were.
Yep.
Nothing else. We didn't sell anything that day other than the idea of self-knowledge and self-worth.
Yeah.
So
that's beautiful.
the answer to the how does someone that looks like someone else accept the truth? They have to be exposed to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
like I said, that's why I'm getting the speaker, and I'm gonna take that recording of Peter, and I'm going to all the right places, you know, going to all the right places.
Hey, don't go in Starbucks, man. They shooting brothers in Starbucks. Don't go in Starbucks with it.
Yeah, but
or the Waffle House.
It's a very complex, this fallen world that we're in the restoration process. So I'm going to talk about that, Joe, actually on the Truth Be Told radio show on Tuesday morning. I'm going to talk about the original principles of creation, the fall, and then principles of restoration, and then the spirit world, how the spirit world operates.
Absolutely. So, you know, just to wrap up here, because I know, you know, everyone has to go and get moving into different things. You know, Peter, I'll let you, you know, say a quick last word. People can contact you and all that good stuff. Joe, you do the same, and then we'll go to myself and Brother John, or close us out.
Sure. It's Better Days with Peter Hayes. You can, if you want to send me a email, you can go to Peter Hayes 1960 at gmail.com. That's Peter Hayes, Hayes 1960 at gmail.com. You can go to, I help run 3 nonprofits and 3 businesses. So you can go to global1.org, global.won.org. You can go to historyuntold400.org, or you can go to truthbetold.com. Is that right, Joe?
Yep, truthbetold.com and truthbetold at gmail.com for an email there. But just remember that truth is has an E on it, because that comes with education and a host of other things as well.
Yeah, and so my company name is Urban Outreach Marketing, and we do digital and marketing for nonprofits, businesses, and political campaigns here and around the world. So I got my hands busy, but this stuff we're talking about, reason I'm taking my hour and 2 hours, this is crucial because if we can break down the worldwide sexism issue and the worldwide racism issue, which are twin evil brothers, religious bigotry and racism are the twin evil brothers. And if we can solve those, and then we're able to have a much better individual life, family, nation, world, and the cosmos will stop grieving because of our bad behavior.
So we'll see less and less aliens visits. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead. Give your last word and where people can contact you if, for whatever it is you want them to contact you about.
All right, I'm Joseph Reeves out of Paducah, Kentucky. I am the chairman of the advisory council for the hungry and homeless kids of our public school system. So if you have access to resources and information, or you have a desire to help, please look at Tornado Alley, Paducah Tillman High School, Tornado Alley. And you can send a message there through Facebook to Tornado Alley, or Stay, STAY, which is our mobile unit that we travel around our district and deliver food and supplies to families that are distraught or without. I'm also the president of Ramrod's Motorcycle Club. This is our 50th year, the oldest non-European motorcycle club in this region of the country. As in our 50th year, we're spending a lot of time, as Peter knows, and Joseph, you do as well, about forming strategic partnerships to bring relief to those families and communities affected by the tornadoes of December 2021. So if you have resources or donations that you would like to make, please contact the Tipping Point, and I'll get that information from Brother Tapper, because he's also a point of contact for those resources. And I believe that'll be enough for today. That's a lot in itself. All the hats that I wear. One day maybe we'll talk about it all, but those two right there are the two that I'm focused on in this season. So thank you all for allowing me to be on the show today, and always a pleasure to share space with you guys.
Absolutely.
Hey, Joe, real quick, look at this drink: beet, carrot, and apple. So I'm being a good follower of you.
I see.
Good stuff. I know we were talking about juice the other day in text, so good stuff there. And Joe, appreciate your wrap up there and the contact info. That motorcycle club of non-Europeans sounds like people that look like you. But with that being said, folks, you can always catch up with me at justaskjoe.net. Again, that's justaskjoe.net. You can always hit me up. The tippingpointshow.com, as well as the tippingpointshow@gmail.com. Again, that's the tippingpointshow.com or the tippingpointshow@gmail.com. You know, check us out on Instagram. I'm gonna replay this video on Instagram as well, because we're starting to have to move our platform around, simply because Facebook is a big bully. And you know, I know my very first friend, all of our first friend on Facebook. What was his name? You know, we didn't forget the dude. What's his name? The owner of Facebook. I remember.
Mark Zuckerman.
Zuckerman, yeah. Back in the day when you first came on Facebook, that was your first friend, Mark Zuckerman. You know, it was no longer these days is he your friend, and or else I'd direct message him and be like, dude, what's going on, man? Stop playing. You know, y'all got our show. We can't go live on Facebook. What's going on with you, bro? But either way, man, you know, just you know, again, check us out, the Tipping Point Morning Show on Instagram, as well as you know, on YouTube. You've got the Tipping Point Morning Show as well. And again, we'll see you all again. Go ahead, Brother John.
Yeah, a great show, great conversation. Definitely would love to have you brothers back, and we can build some more. I like to close with, you know, talking about this subject about when we talk about racism. I, like you, believe that racism is just actually just an illusion.
Yep.
It is the great distractor for people in this particular country here.
Yes.
While we are distracted, there is something else going on. They may be digging for gold in somewhere in Africa or mining something. We're always distracted with racism. And I believe this. Each and every individual is responsible for your own alignment with the universe. And if you align yourself with the universe, all the things that you think is powerful, that's stronger than you, is an illusion. So in other words, if you feel helpless, you a victim. So if you go with racism, you are helpless. Because why? You can't point to racism. You can't point to where it's at. You can't point to who holds it, right? So the only thing you can feel is victimized. And so as long as you're victim, you can't move forward. You can't achieve nothing. You can't create nothing, right? But imagine now, if racism doesn't exist in your mind, then the opportunities for life is wide open. Instead of you seeing things, oh, I didn't achieve this because I'm black or because someone don't like the color of my skin, you will look at things and say, well, maybe I didn't achieve it because I didn't work hard enough, or I didn't do more to get that done. You will look at things differently when you are viewing that concept a little differently about yourself in the universe. So I believe we're all gods walking around, enjoying a human experience while we're on the planet. And we are extremely powerful. But as long as you are distracted with racism and other vices, you give up your power because you are now a victim. Right. And so if you are a victim, then you are powerless and you really do need help. Right. So I want to just close with that concept that we all have the ability to overcome whatever situation we have on this planet while we're in this dimension. This is why you are here. Right. And this is why you exist. It's connection to the universe. Once you understand that power, that you connect in alignment with the universe, trust me, there ain't nothing no one can do to stop you from achieving whatever goals you are here to achieve.
Absolutely, man. It has been fantastic. Thank you, brothers, for rocking with us. We definitely thank General AHAMARA MATHIS, who, you know, not only was rocking with us on video, but then just the same jumped in and she says, hey, we're going to do it, Peter. I'm ready. I did send her your info because she wants to talk to you right away. So you may be hearing from her shortly. With that in mind, as she stated here, having so much joy because we're about to take down the elite. You know, when you think about that, folks, again, you know, focusing on yourself as an individual. This has been another episode of the Tipping Point Morning Show. I'm going to end with some commercials and such. But again, we will see you all next week. Same place, same time. Again, you can check it. You can replay or see this show again on YouTube, and it will be playing here shortly on Instagram as well. So peace out. We will see you all next week. Peace.
Peace, fam.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
Habibi Trading Company, home of soap sticks and Saya Baba products. Over 400 locations at a store near you. Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky. Or get yours online at sayababa.com. Again, that's sayababa.com. Habibi Tumi Trading Company, owned by yours truly, John Ya Esoteric Concepts.
Hey folks, check out healthdaddywow.net. 100% plant-based herbs and supplements. Whether you're in person or online, use the word tipping for 10% off. Remember, feel better, look great, healthdaddywow.net. Remember, healthdaddywow.net.